It's Tuesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am talked by Mark Odige, and with me, as usual, YK is back in the building.
Yo.
Oh my goodness, YK, I'm happy I'm wearing green with you, like, you know, love. How you doing?
Yeah, I have to wear green for my school. Near the old girls, we've built, if you see the magnificent building that the old girls contributed and we have built, it's fantastic. So I'm going for the commissioning of that now, this morning. Wow. Yeah, immediately after the show, I can't even wait.
It's so good when old girls or old alumni have impact in the school. It's important, and then more importantly, interaction with the
president
children.
we have, she's very, very proactive. So it's helped us do it, because if it was me, I won't be doing it too. So, but I want to rant and I want to rejoice. Okay. I want to rejoice with my brother and his son for their Grammy nominations.
Yay! Congratulations to the Kuti family, to Madi and Uncle Femi.
Yes, Madi, his first album, so I'm really, really happy. Whether they win or not, I mean, we are not. We call ourselves Grammy. Yeah. Because Femi has seven Grammy nominations. Now Madi has one, Shegun has one. So this is the Grammy family. Officially.
That's awesome. And then the rants.
The rants. Someone came to my page. I posted Obiajilu's video on her experience at La Campagne at the weekend. And someone came to my page and said that you are not doing like your father. And I looked at it and I said, why do we like to justify bad behavior? Say, if it was the shrine, anybody can make mistakes. If it was the shrine, call me out. I don't care. I will rectify the situation. Is that the only way I can?
And feedback is important.
The shrine is not perfect. We have many issues. And people actually text me and tell me, and I say, oh, thank you for this observation. This woman spent money.
Exactly.
I don't want to go into the amount that she spent. Does she not have the right to complain?
If she did not get good service.
The next day.
You know, must she excuse it? Why do we in Nigeria like to excuse bad behavior?
We take it as criticism does not let us get better. Because at any point in time, we must be willing to hear where we are faulty, and then we get better, and we grow from that point. YK, leave them. They don't deserve your time.
That kind of comment, I would delete it from my, but I left it. I was going to answer, and then I said, no, let peace reign.
Leave them.
There's no point.
But I'm just thinking, but why? I'll go to COVID. This COVID, do you know that a lot of people do not take the vaccine and then they get certificate for vaccine?
Terrible. We are the ones. YK, we are the ones. We go, we travel with fake vaccine. Somebody was surprised that when I went for my my check. They were like, why did you go? You don't need to go. I said, no, but I am meant to go, so I know I should know that I am not carrying disease to somewhere. I'm not carrying disease from someone. It's important. But, Nima, how you doing?
I'm fine. It's Bumi's birthday.
Why are you jumping? I wanted to be the one to announce it. I don't understand.
She's my wife. What do I do?
So let's do it very well.
Yes,
call her name. Call her name well. Nima, you have the floor. Call her name.
Okay, Olubumi, Yawa Abdul, Omokewa. Happy birthday.
Today, Bumi clocks 40. Bumi is our producer. She's a producer and scriptwriter, an assistant producer and scriptwriter on Your View. She's been with us for years. She's amazing. She's our mama. When we say mama, we don't mean it like she's old, but we mean that she's motherly. And we appreciate you. God bless you, Bumi. Many more years, bigger celebration will come your way, and we're excited to be on this journey with you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Bumi. I'm all right. Just plenty reading to do. I'm having a 1-week leadership training, GOTV leadership training at Marriott Hotel for 1 whole week. I got home yesterday, 7 p.m. After the show now, I'm headed there. We'll be graduating on Saturday. I have a backlog of my assignments to do, my MBA and Masters. I don't know how to divide myself, but I have a cold at the same time. But I'll be all right. So it's just work. I think there will be a time to rest. This is the season to work. So let me do the work. I'm not complaining.
It is well.
How are you doing?
I'm good. VC was complaining of cold. This morning I woke up and I'm like, hey,
I did not kiss you.
I don't know what happened.
I did not kiss you.
Please. But we're grateful to God for life. And I think that we should all take ourselves seriously and not wait until something goes wrong before we care. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we'll go through the newspapers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, we're going to be starting front page review today with The Punch. Starting with major headline. Travel ban. Nigeria, UK may clash. Federal government alleges action discriminatory. And in other news, Dowen College, family demand coroner inquest into son's death. 24-year-old man sentenced to death for killing brother over Okada in Ekiti State. Dismissed worker accused rector of having affair with wife on character assassination. That's from Ofa Poly. Motorists protest deplorable Kwara Oyo connecting colonial-era bridge. 35-year-old man arrested for killing Ogun cigarette seller with blows over 50 naira. 3 billion naira fraud. EFCC protests U.S. medical travel application by ex-NSITF boss. And Nigeria records 8.9 trillion naira trade deficit in 9 months. Experts blame insecurity. Rising food prices, fueling inflation in Nigeria. Others, that's from IMF. NSCDC operatives brutalized Punch reporter. Tag him ESN spy. And finally, foreign flights. Foreign airlines to cut Nigeria flights as sales crash. So, of all these stories, which are we going to... There's a picture story. Sorry, the picture story. Okay. Rescuers at Sumna Wula village in Lombard after the Semeru volcano eruption that killed at least 14 people in Indonesia. Honestly, when you see these people that are suffering from natural disasters, you wonder that we don't have this, but we're still suffering so many challenges.
We have artificial disasters. Are you ready to go?
The picture story, I felt really bad about it. I saw 14 bodies had already died before immediately volcano happened. Someone had shared videos online. But then the Punch reporter that, was beaten by 2 NSCDC, that's the Nigerian Civil Defense Corps. This Punch reporter's name is Chide Bube Okeama. He's the Punch correspondent for Imo State. He had gone to the FGC Owerri to cover a story for bullying in the FGC, that video that surfaced. And you know what they usually say? They say journalists should find out the other side, which is what he was doing when these 2 NSCDC officials jumped on him and decided to beat him and then frame him as what they call a spy for the ESN, for the Eastern Security Network, and beat him mercilessly. They injured him on the head with the butt of their gun for coming there. He had requested to see the principal. They said he was not on set. He said, okay, there should be a vice principal because he needs to get the other side of the story. And they said, no vice president. Any senior person in command, they said, no, go come back next week. He said, no, but this is a story I'm doing now, and I want to finish it. Rather than, be civil, they then go in, come back and said, for persisting, decided to beat him up and then frame him as ESN spy. Beat him when he was bleeding. They dragged him in the pool of blood. This is totally uncalled for. Okay. And I want to join voice with Punch for, for calling out the NSCDC. I hope that the 2 officials who were on duty at the FGC that day will be fished out to face the law. And,
yeah, definitely.
Painful. The major story. So we know that the United Kingdom had banned Nigerians for getting into the country because of the Omicron variant that they have found. They said they found in 21 persons who had traveled from Nigeria into the UK. Also, Canada did the same ban. We're like the red alert now? Red list country. But the United Kingdom is justifying the ban, saying that is a measure aimed at protecting its public health, that this is just going to be a temporary measure. They're looking to review it by the 20th of December, see how it goes, before they can decide to either lift the ban or leave the ban, ongoing. But Nigeria has rejected the ban, saying that this is discriminatory, this is prejudice, and this is, there was another word that was used, apartheid, saying that they are allowing Nigerians or people who have their passports, that citizens, whether they are Nigerians or not, into their country, but they are not allowing Nigerians. And it's not like this Omicron has killed anybody. People have just been, having the virus, but nobody has died from Omicron. And travel ban is not even the solution to this. This is going to affect a lot of businesses. They are not paying attention to the economic aspects of this travel ban. And so why would they single out Nigeria? That they had a lot of people coming in from the United Kingdom into the country that had, COVID-19, and there was no ban stopping them. It's just been back and forth. But what I would appeal to Nigerians is, maybe they've banned us, stay in your house.
Simple.
As simple as that.
A quick addendum to that story is the fact that foreign airlines are they're perfecting the process of cutting flights to Nigeria because we are already on the red list for UK. Canada has also said we're not allowed to come in. So the airlines that usually would fly this route are now perfecting the process of rescheduling. So all the BA flights that were supposed to go from Lagos to London are now being reduced because of course, and this would affect our revenue that we make from airlines coming into the country.
It will affect our revenue, it will affect their revenue.
As well.
I think, for me, the ban, I think, was a bit... hasty. I personally think it was a bit hasty, but then I think we need to get our own act
right.
together.
We should stop lying. Can we just stop lying? Emirates just opened our flights because Nigerians were lying when they are traveling. It's really, really sad. Let's move on to Daily Sun. Major headline, still Omicron. Federal government rejects UK travel ban. We've taken that story already. Again, Ohaneze demands release of Nnamdi Kanu, 19 others, Igbo youths. We have Malami launches virtual court sitting at Kuje Correctional Center. Says it won't contravene fair hearing. Over 70,000 Cameroonian refugees in Nigeria, says the UNHCR. Nigeria records negative trade balance of 3 trillion naira in Q3 of 2021. Senate President slams Health Minister, Permanent Sec, others for not attending summit on COVID. Vaccines to cover 70% of the population available. That's from the SGF. Seems like good news. Niger. Tension in community as bandits insist on 55 million naira ransom for abducted 55 residents. AMCON to publish debtors lists, January 2022. Fuel subsidy. Labour begins mobilization for strike. Kokori charges union to resist alleged government manipulation. So, what are we starting with?
So, Attorney General commendably launched the virtual court sitting yesterday, and because of that, 15 inmates regained freedom for minor offenses, though. So, they usually, when you go to prison, you usually find detainees who are detained for the most flimsy offenses, but because of lack of speedy hearing, they will be there forever for the most flimsy cases. So we know those that do capital offenses that should be there till their court hearing exhausts, would matter at the time. But there are some people who should not even be there in the first place, but they are there waiting for court to arraign them or, to adjourn and sit again. So fortunately, he did this, and he said this does not contravene any of the provisions of the Constitution. He quoted Section 36 and Section 34 of the Constitution as amended, and said this does not contravene any of this, but it will hasten access to justice, fair hearing, and all of that. And I must commend him. I think this is the way to go.
This is definitely good. This is what we want in all the prisons, to avoid, to decongest the prisons. We'll take a quick break. Yes. When we return, we'll continue with Front Page Review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
So we're continuing with the Front Page Review, and we've been discussing the top stories in Daily Sun.
Yes.
BC, you're going to say...
So the youth wing of Ohaneze Ndigbo are calling on the President Muhammadu Buhari, to release IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu and 19 other Igbo youths detained by the security agencies. They're also asking that the President rejig the security architecture so that they can be better able to protect the lives and properties of Nigerians. they are urging the Eastern governors and the Eastern leaders to ensure that the Ebube Agu security outfit has a lot of young people to rub minds in protecting lives and properties. They are also asking that the federal government declare the roads a state of emergency in the East, that the roads are in deplorable states and they need to be, worked on so that people can go about their businesses safely. So they are, they had a meeting and then they put out a paper to request for some of these things, and they are hopefully the president will listen to them and grant them some of their requests. A
bit of good news from the Secretary to the government and the chairman of the Federal Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa, has said that we have enough vaccines to cover 70% of the population. That by the end of 2022, we should have capacity to have covered 70% of the Nigerian population. Seems like a long time frame, but as compared to other African countries, not so bad. Some have it really, really worse. But what we'll just plead for is, can we be honest about vaccination, that those that are holding the card, are those who are truly vaccinated. Let's not use our own hands.
But we really have, okay, go ahead.
That are banning people. Maybe they are supposed to make sure that the whole world is vaccinated.
Exactly. They should be donating vaccines to everybody free.
It seems like they're holding a bit.
I'm not saying whether they should donate it free. We should be responsible, pay? But we can't pay. But if you see, because the world is a global village, if you don't vaccinate the whole world, the thing will just be mutating, which is what has happened with the Omicron. Omicron, because not everybody is vaccinated. Not 70% of the world is vaccinated. The thing is mutating.
Yes, from one body to another, it changes.
And now they want Nigerians to come and suffer for it. Well, they should only remove that ban. Mad people.
Moving on to the Vanguard. Major headline still. We've taken it to the Omicron story. Fuel price hike. NLC begins mobilization against federal government. Who is taking that story? Lagos pedestrian bridge intrigues drama as pedestrians dash across highway. Jailbreaks, reflection of injustice and system failure. That's from PFN. $10 billion NLNG project. Senate to sanction contractors over breach of law. 2023, Northern Youth CSOs back eyeing for presidency. Pastor Chris Oyakilome celebrates birthday. Oromoni's death. Police interrogate 3 Dowen College students. Ultimatum, you will hear from us in 24 hours, ASU tells Nigerians. 8 children who died inside car. We opted to bury our children because officials demanded $0.8 million for autopsy from the bereaved parents. Petrol imports drives Nigeria's trade deficits in Q3 to 3 trillion. So I think we should start with the 8 children who died.
I read that story actually because what had happened was they were supposed to do an inquest, an autopsy into the cause of their deaths, and the officials said, they have to pay 100,000 each. And they're Muslims, and they said it is against their religion to pay for
inquiry after
inquiry, and so they've opted to bury their children. And they talked about how really what they wanted to find out is, did the kids die by being inside this vehicle, or were they killed before they were put inside? Because they are suspecting that it was poison.
The story is sort of against the government policy to inquest into such a death. They are asking the families to pay 800,000 naira for after losing 8 children. And these are families who are bereaved and probably not, financially buoyant enough for those. They want to know how, but they don't want to have to bear another cost when they need to still bear the cost of burying their children. So they opted for the easy, and they're Muslims. They bury immediately. So when we make laws and we make policies, it must take cognizance of people's ways of life, and especially our own people. These people would rather bury quickly, and you want to do an inquest that will take a few days. You're also asking them to wait for that and then pay again. So I think government should review that policy quickly, because now the families then opted to bury, and we will never know for real what caused the death of these people. Yeah. The taxes that we pay are for this kind of inquest.
Oh, I missed the story, the picture story, war against gender-based violence. I think the First Lady of Lagos State, Dr. Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu, was addressing students of Dolphin Junior High School, Tapa, Lagos Island, during our advocacy visit commemorating the annual 16 days of activism against sexual and gender-based violence.
I just wanted to say that the 8 children, 3 were from Hasika to Isaka, 2 were from Ibrahim.
One person lost 3 children.
Yes.
Yes, and another guy lost 3 children.
Yes.
It was 3 families.
Yes.
8 children, 3 families.
Yes. They were even suspecting poison. Said they just came back from their Islamic school when this happened. So she was still running around to see how she can get biscuits for them before they get home.
They packed in a compound that they don't even go to. The kids were packed in a compound. It was somebody that came and said, come and see. When she got there, the children were all on top of each other. Very, very horrible story. Very, very horrible
painful
story.
And then you have the mind to request for 100,000 each for autopsy.
For people who have lost...
They're so insensitive.
They're not even...
Do they have money?
Really sad. All right, so let's take the ultimatum from ASU.
Yes, so ASU, you know, they gave an ultimatum which has expired, and they're saying they're going to be having meeting with their other branches across Nigeria to decide the next line of action. You know, they had meetings back-to-back with the minister, Dr. Chris Ngige, and there were promises that they were already attending to them, that the money was already with the CBN. Very soon they will start, you know, paying them for their revitalization fund and everything they discussed. So I'm shocked that it has expired now, and we have heard nothing. So by the time they have their meeting, they will give us feedback on if they want to go ahead with the strike, or students will still be in school while they renegotiate. It's just, I don't know.
Sad.
Let them hear themselves out.
Bridge story.
Yes.
So this very, very detailed article on how we have, I cannot read all of them, but all pedestrian bridges, they took a list of all of them. Let me just mention Mile 12 one, the one at 7up, the one at Sele. All of our bridges, why they are not being used and what they are now being used for because they are underutilized for the purpose that they were built. And you know the millions that government spent per bridge.
Building bridges.
So now, because for the one at Ojota, because of the crowd, the traffic of human traffic at the time of use, most people will just opt for crossing the road. And now, so people are used to crossing the road. And the bridges are now used as shopping markets. People now have stores, they pay the area boys.
Oh, my, seriously?
That Ojota one has a billboard that covers, the one at 7up has a billboard on it. So it covers, and so it's not advisable for people to use it at night.
They say it's not safe.
Of nefarious activities that happen on it. So a lot of things that discourage the use of the bridges
was detailed in this report. I think that it's also important that any bridge that has those signboards should, they pay for those signage. They should have lights. They should have lights and security.
The government put security at the foot of the bridge. So the one at 7up, yes, there's a security man at the foot of the bridge. But then, at night,
people up.
Boys are there.
So I wanted to just say, on our way to the Kenya on Saturday, the bridge, there's one bridge at Lekki, one of those Lekki bridges. Do you know what I saw passing it?
Lekki Aja.
Okada.
Okada was climbing bridge.
You know, we are today now. We destroyed things.
It is well.
No,
let me quickly take this.
Okada were using it as thoroughfare.
They even climb the stairs.
Wow. Feel high. So the NLC, our comrade Ayuba Waba, has said that they will not take this. They will not take this hike. The NLC has said that they are going to, they are mobilizing, that they are going to face the government, this hike, this petrol subsidy removal, and its impact on the people will be terrible, and they are not going to take it. Now, let me link that to the other story that I've been reading since, which is that we have a trade deficit of 3 trillion naira.
How do we
simply
pay?
Because of fuel petrol imports. So because we have to pay subsidy and we're not making money, we didn't make money throughout October. I mentioned it yesterday. People are not hearing. Nigerian government did not collect any money from petrol for a full month. Get this, they don't have money. Now we have a deficit that we're going to borrow money from the next month to cover up for. I think NLC, please help us. Let's listen. Let's listen to ourselves.
Are banning us now.
Let's listen to ourselves and think of the entire nation and its impact entirely. We need to fund many sectors, not just.
I'm thinking of the entire nation when I say, did they not know that when they processed all of us to go and march that time? If we had done the fuel subsidy that time, would Nigeria be better by now?
All right.
These people now that were shouting fuel subsidy, no to fuel subsidy. Now they want to do fuel subsidy. Well, of course, you see.
We're almost out of time. We cannot finish the conversation. It's a hot topic. Nigerian Tribune. Let's quickly read the headlines. We don't have time to take the stories, but it's the same travel ban. Nigeria is in red list. The African Developmental Bank slams UK, says ban unfair and not backed by science, which I think we should investigate, because really, what's the basis for that ban? How many Omicron people came through Nigeria specifically? Also, quickly, let's take the Ikoyi building collapse. Why tribunal report is being delayed? Yes, very brief.
So somebody who refused to be identified on the panel says that, because the panel is supposed to have submitted their reports 30 days already, and 3 days extra. They're saying that because they have to be careful at what they arrive at the end of the day, because the owner of the building is not alive to tell a story. So they're taking their time to do a more detailed job. Also, I have received personally reports from a family member, the NYSC core member, sending me messages privately asking that the body of her sister has still not been released to the family. And they have already submitted samples for their DNA. I think that the government should hasten this so people can find closure. This is a grieving moment for people.
All right, that's all we can take on Front Page Review for today. When we return, we have a guest appearance from Fuzu. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So joining us on this segment is to discuss Fuzu, is the Global Head of Marketing, Irene Agu. Welcome to the show, Irene.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Good to have you. So we have loads of questions for you because many people don't understand what Fuzu is all about. Recently, we saw a very funny, interesting video online of Fuzu chasing Sapa out of Lagos amidst laughter. Then we saw a follow-up video of Sapa trying to gate crash your lunch event at Hatros Cafe, only to receive another round of humiliation. So what is all that about? I'm sure they want to see, our viewers want to know, what exactly is Fuzu? Why is Fuzu chasing Sapa? How can Sapa fight back? And everybody on that, they want to just know. People want to know.
Okay, so I think for us it was, if you think about the young Nigerian, average Nigerian, why are you working? You're working to make money, right? So you want to not to be broke so that you can do other things.
Exactly.
So that was interesting. So for us, there's this video of Sapa going around. Everybody's talking about, how Sapa is the problem. And we're like, Sapa is always chasing people. How about we chase Sapa this time? And if you think about what Fuzu does, which is give people a way to build their careers, it's a way to basically chase Sapa out of town. And, Sapa tried to come back for part 2, but we weren't having that.
Is it Sapa or Sapa?
It's SAP.
That's being broke, right?
Yeah, being
that's
broke.
Poverty.
Yeah, poverty.
Sapa now. You people want to speak pidgin, speak it well.
Sorry.
But I understand what you're doing.
So Sapa, for those that don't know, is a local language we use online to describe that state of being broke, hustling for more, like poverty, know. So
yeah. So we've seen a number of testimonials on your platform, talking about career heroes. People who had to join Fuzu finally became career heroes. Can you tell us a bit about that?
So for the career heroes thing, it was basically, if you think about the work section, like the work sector, it's like a lot of people are working, but you always have somebody that's supporting you. You have these people around you that have sort of cheered you on every day. Sometimes you're sad, they're there. Sometimes you need a boost, they give you. So it's like, how are you celebrating these people that have helped people so far? Because we're coming into the market to help them. We're taking it from here, but we want to basically celebrate the people that have done it so far. And you go on LinkedIn every day, you see people talking, this person helped me, this person did this. So it's like, let's give you a platform where you can actually share. Yes, share these stories, talk about the people, talk about the ways that they've helped you, right? Let's start telling these good, positive stories.
So why did Fuzu come to Nigeria? in other African countries or any other place in the world?
Yes. So we're big in East Africa, so Kenya and Uganda. But the thing is, if you look at these statistics, last year, Nigeria, we hit second highest unemployment rates, right? So that means that while there's a big problem, there's also like there's a big market here that needs our help. There's a big market here where we can impact. So that was the main reason. So it's an opportunity for us to sort of, grow and get to a point where we're helping people that need the help, really.
Okay, I was going to ask, What would you say our biggest problem is here?
I would say that
the job sector, sorry.
I would say that the biggest problem so far with employment in Nigeria is the fact that even though we're trying to solve it, we're basically doing a lot of isolated support, right? So one NGO is working in Zafar. Another person is talking to employers in Lagos. So nobody's actually working, like there's no end-to-end support. The public sector isn't working with the private sector, isn't working with the students. Like we all need to bring everybody together, which is why when we did our launch event, what we did was we basically got all the major stakeholders, right? How can we start driving 360-degree involvement? And that's what we see as the problem that we have to solve.
So my question is, there are many job sites, there are many platforms that promise jobs, there are many platforms that promise to build your career. What makes Fuzu different, and why should people jump on your platform?
Okay, so if you think about the traditional job sites that we have, it's you go to a site, you just see your listings, and then you have to start looking for the jobs, right? So with Fuzu, how it's different is that it's not just about the jobs, right? It's about actual career development, and what we use is technology that will drive that. So what we've done is we've brought employers on one end and employees on the other end, so job seekers on the other end, and we have all these people on one platform. Now we offer everything from actually building personalized, what's it called?
CVs?
No, so we have CVs. So CVs are like, how do you help a person build? We have a CV creator. Okay. We give you instant feedback on every application, right? We personally, if you think about how work works, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach, right?
Yeah,
the way people learn differently. People also respond better to different types of jobs. So what we do is we figure out what works for you. We give you that. We also help employers on the other end to sort of assess candidates, right? We help them to headhunt. The people that you're looking for might not be looking for you at that point in time.
True.
So how do I help you also find the people that better fit your thing? Because we have a pool of quality talent, right? How do I help you use the machine learning models that we have to sort of rank the candidates so that automatically you don't have to do that work where you're going through thousands of CVs and wasting time. It's like automatically the system tells you these are your top 10 candidates.
Interesting.
These are the people you should look at.
Interesting.
So what exactly do you do for employers now who are what exactly are the services that they'll get? Okay. Let's say a young couple is coming to your platform. What can you just do for him that, talk to them now? What should they expect?
Okay. So what you can expect from Fuzu is basically job matching, first off. So we match you to the right job for you. The second thing that we do is we help you improve your CV so that even as you're growing, your portfolio is growing with you, right? We help you with matching you to the right employers because sometimes you're not looking for certain things, but we realize that this might be a perfect fit for you. We also have e-learning because if you think about how it works, it's not just about hard skills anymore. There are lots of soft skills that you need to learn. There are lots of things that are coming up. Every day, it's like there's a new thing that you have to learn. So free courses there. It's a free platform. Beyond that, we also have forums. So how can I provide you with peer-to-peer support? How do I link you up with other people within your field that can, support you, that can grow with you, that can also tell you this is how I'm doing my own thing. For employers, that one is different a bit. So it's for employers, we're talent sourcing. We're headhunting, which is if they are not looking for you, let me just tell you where they are. These people are the best for you, right? We're automatically ranking your candidates so that with technology, you just see, okay, these 3 guys are my guys, right? And then beyond that, it's also how do we start building like a merit-based system so that you're not saying based on location or based on I know you. It's not, it's not connection. So it's as long as you're in this place, you have this equal access to opportunities like everyone else.
Okay, so what's like Fuzu's long-term plan for the Nigerian job market? And with your help, Fuzu, what do you see? Where do you see the Nigerian job market in 5 years?
Okay, so the big plan is basically to work with everyone to transform the Nigerian talent scale, right? In 5 years, I would say that one thing that we have set as a big goal, every day we wake up and we all read it together, is we want to be able to advance the career of at least 10 million Nigerians. If you look at the job market today, we have about 5,000 jobs monthly, and we have a lot of people that are coming out. So these jobs are not enough. How do we start unearthing the hidden jobs? All those jobs that you're giving people in your backyard and calling other people, how do we actually start getting you to bring them out? And how do we make sure that we're not creating vulnerable employment?
Okay, so obviously you know that one of the things people complain about with the Nigerian job market is that we have graduates who are not necessarily employable. So what would you say is the challenge with the educational sector, and how do you think that plays a role? And most importantly, what is Fuzu doing to help fix that problem? Because I know you said you do a lot of developmental, like there's a track to help people grow into the career they desire. How do you help to solve the challenge with employment?
So for education, I will say that education is still like focused on very hard skills, right? So you have people still focusing on, oh, biology, chemistry, that's great, right? But what are the key things that will actually help you in the job market? I studied English, right? But I'm now global head of marketing at Fuzu. So what we've done is we figured out, okay, who are the people that we need to be talking to? There's public sector, the actual, you think about the public universities, right? You need to work in the public sector. There are NGOs that are based in these areas. There are student bodies that are based in these areas. So the question is, how can I bring like e-learning? How can I get the courses that they need? So that if you know that you're doing marketing, you want to learn SEO. You need to learn like a bit of graphic design so that you can tell graphic designer, this thing you design doesn't make sense. So all this small thing, we package it into like smaller, you know, snackable bits that you can actually use to support whatever it is that you're learning in school.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It was great having you. Just a final word from you to everyone watching who's curious about Fuzu, how to get on Fuzu, why they should get on Fuzu. What will be your final parting comments to them?
And what are the tangible benefits?
Okay. So I will say that if you want to grow in your career, it's not just about getting a job. It's not just about opening that door. You have to walk through the door, go to the top, and also help other people. And we can help you do that, right? All you have to do is literally just visit www.fuzu.com/Nigeria or come to any of our social media pages at Fuzu Nigeria and just say, Irene sent me here. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to set up this profile and I'm going to get the best job that I can. I'm going to build the best career that I can.
Oh, it was nice having you, Irene. Thank you so much. You're so eloquent, and you seem really like believing what you're doing.
I do.
All the best. It was nice having you on the show. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're going into the next segment, Hot Topics. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Bullying can have harmful and long-lasting consequences for children. Recently, we've heard several cases that have led to the death of a child. Joining us to discuss how bullying can be curbed in children and how to build confidence in kids. Okay, so we are going to be discussing bullying from our own perspective first before we bring in a guest. We want to discuss bullying, how we dealt with bullying, how we as parents are dealing with bullying in our children and against our children, before we now bring in a guest to join us talk about it. Let me hear from YK. We've discussed this thing, but you know when we discussed it then, you shared a few stories of your experience with your daughter, and now, sadly, one child died as a result of this, and we're revisiting it again. And the reason we're going to be discussing this extensively, probably all through this week, is because we don't want there to be ever, like there must never, ever, this must be, the justice for Sylvester must be that we, as a country, deal with this situation comprehensively. So, YK, you were not here yesterday. What was your first opinion when you saw this? How did you feel?
You know, till today, I haven't watched the video, and I'm very, very glad I haven't watched the video, and I don't intend to ever watch the video, because you are watching a young kid
going through pain
in his last moments, one. Two, a death that could have been avoided if everybody had been had concentrated on, one, his changes. Two, in this, you see, for me, these schools are liable.
Very.
You do not take people's children and not be able to look after them. You are taking people's children. If I give you my child, and I'm paying you to look after my child, and then my child dies in your hand, look, then parents, again, they need to teach their children against bullying. And they must if you know that your child is a bully, it has to have serious consequences, serious punishment. I shared a video today, and Obiajulu was talking about this guy whose daughter was suspended from the school bus for bullying. So he made her walk 5 miles. He followed her, but she walked because she says, I've been suspended, Daddy, you have to take me to school today. Take you to school. You go waka, go that
entitlement.
And he watched her. He followed her. She walked that 5 miles to the school. And that's the only way that he will teach her that you will take responsibility for your actions. We have to make our children take responsibility for their actions. And, you know, I just, the other day, I just have to say this one quickly. My brother's kid was bullied. One of his kids was bullied. About 5 boys, you know, just, and then he came, we don't take that kind of thing. They cuckoo know when they come, they talk like this. Action don't happen. Immediately. Everybody don't go to school. Say, hey, they are bullying my child. So I asked him today, are you still bullied? He said, no, for where? They don't bully also. That's because the action, the school knew, the students knew that, these ones don't want to tolerate bullying. So I said, are other kids still bullied? He said, yes.
Wow. So apparently there's...
So I said, now I'm giving you work. If you see anybody being bullied, report to your school and then come and report to us. We will take action.
So, YK, you're taking ownership of your own nephew or niece as well as the entire community.
Exactly.
And what we usually do, because I've seen several videos of this from this Dowen, is that they will take their child away from the place.
Quietly.
Or they will just leave without ensuring that where you are living, you sanitize the place so that no other person suffers what your child suffers.
You don't have to leave. You can sanitize the place while you are there.
You're still there.
Because if my child is being bullied in your school and I don't go there and solve the problem, the other children are going to be bullied. And now look at that is what has happened with this poor child. Because other parents who knew that their kids were being bullied. Look, I have many stories. I will let other people talk.
We'll come back to you, YK. Nima.
Okay. So
between yesterday and today, I know you've seen a lot of other videos
I'm just sort of now more confident in my parenting style. Yes, because I've had reasons to.
I want lioness, team lioness.
I was bullied though. I used to be a quite short person, and I entered secondary school much younger. I was bullied, so I became a bully faster. In fact, as soon as I wrote junior WAEC, I became a bully. You attempt it, I face you because I cannot go. I kept I remember telling my dad that I don't like that school. The teacher's method and everything. He said, you will finish there. You're made for tougher times. And I quickly just became that.
Tough.
So I used to do the same to my child. I wondered how. But I noticed that my daughter now would sometimes do certain things to other kids and normalize it. And she would come and say, but I didn't, no. Certain things are values that I was raised with that I'm forcing on her. And I'm doing it in such ways I'm thinking, she's still 8, maybe I should just soften it. You can't tell a lie. And if you observe anything between two people, say what you saw. Don't take a side. No, but because this one is my friend, you know, we play more. Auntie, say what you saw. So now, I went home yesterday and I was feeling good in myself. When I tried to do the same to her brother, immediately she was saying, my mommy, hey, there's rule and order. We, as parents, why can't emphasize the entire thing? Must leave children to learn that in life choices, there will be consequences. Yeah. And there's no young age to start to learn it. From 2, when the child starts to lie, or you start to take things that you did not permit, there should be consequences. Immediately, you will do the right thing so that you're not disgraced in the future. And I don't want to start to give examples because we'll not exhaust today. As long as that child knows that, this thing I do, if my parents find out, or if somebody else, you should bring certain, arrive at certain things,
I want you to specify.
I will have to deal with the
You know, you gave a part of the story this morning, and I know you did not give me permission to share, but Nima specified that a child defended a friend. And you know, sometimes, if you don't deal with it, your daughter went in defense of a friend, and it seemed like your daughter was bullying someone. But your daughter, the background story was that person was bullying someone.
This is exactly what happened. It was later. So I came from work, and my neighbor reported that, I saw your daughter fighting this girl. And this is a girl that, you know, she's not of means, but she's a girl very dear to me. So she's always around me. And I was like, why would she fight that particular girl? That girl is a peaceful child. That's what would ever have happened between the two of them. And so the other girl was like, yes, now, she even beat her very well. I didn't know she went to defend that girl who was giving me the account. So immediately my head just sparked. I don't want to hear anything. Bring Kim, come here. Auntie, you're fighting outside. Number one, let's settle it one time. So after dealing with her, that was when she now got to, but it was you who said that, you know, this girl had insulted you, we should go and fight. And then I went for you, and then she insulted me back, and then we started to fight. I said, okay, number one, we have arrived somewhere. Follow to go and fight is a problem in my house. Number two, what did you set the boundaries? Did you find out whether she had, you know, provoked the girl to respond? Did you bother? And if you could not have bothered, Kukuma don't bother to involve. You know, say what you saw. And so I addressed values from ganging up and all of those things first, and then fighting outside. Only to find out that she had even insulted the girl to say, oh, you are not of my class and all of that. So I made sure she stayed in that girl's house till an apology was accepted, and they partied back home. And then I continued to address this. I really wanted you to specify the story, because sometimes as parents we find ourselves with a child who is strong. And with a strong child, you need to let the child learn control. Yes. That I have the ability to beat 4 of you, but you must teach each other that you don't beat people outside. Control. You must learn to control. BC, our lioness team. BC, last time we discussed this, we have different parenting styles. I probably wouldn't go to school to go and fight the school, but now I'm learning that I have to, because I need to defend my child and ensure that this doesn't happen to my child. But BC is one that will say, if you do one, I'll come to the school and scatter the place. But based on all the stories you've learned, how do you think parents can best deal with the cases of two scenarios I want you to deal with?
Their child bullying. Yes. And other people bullying their child.
Exactly.
Yes. So I happen to give birth to very strong children. Yeah, very strong like me. And I remember when my first daughter was 5 years old in pink class, just about to get into year 1. The teacher complained to me. Then I was still a classroom teacher. And then she called me aside and said, your daughter has been bullying people in class. Your daughter has a clique. She will pick her friends and they will sit with her. And then she likes to be the boss and she's bossing them around and everybody likes her. Then when you do something and she takes you out of that clique, she will tell you that I have cancelled you. You are not coming back to this clique. Then that child will go home and be crying. I told my husband, I say, I don't understand. Because even at that age, I didn't even have liver to speak. So she came with her own. And how am I going to handle this? So sometimes I don't agree with my husband when it comes to some measures. I am tougher. He takes his time to give the punishment. But I said, okay, don't worry, I'll handle it in school. So I had a conversation with my daughter at 5 years. And I said, bullying is not allowed. Everybody is equal. No matter where you find yourself, no matter who you are, you must respect people. At 5, she was looking at me like, hey, Mommy, I just told her not to sit with me. I didn't do anything. I said, you don't discriminate. You don't do that. Do you know what I did? She loves Capri Sun. She loves her food, her snacks, extra things. I said, for 1 term, you're not going to have your snacks. For 1 full term. And I'm a very strict parent. If I say it, I follow it through. 1 term, you eat breakfast in the morning. So you people will not say I starved my child. You eat breakfast in the morning, you eat lunch in school, you come back, you eat dinner. But you see all those extra pecks, chocolates, and all that you take to school for 1 term. In 3 weeks, my daughter adjusted. So the teacher called me and said, what did you do to her? First of all, I noticed that Kosi doesn't come with snacks anymore. When people are eating snacks, she will just sit down and be reading her book. What happened? And I said I had to take her through this process because I was bullied for the majority of my childhood. And I knew how that turned me out to be. I became very aggressive. As you are giving it to me, I'm giving you goes back because I had to find a way to defend myself. I'm raising them in a loving environment. They're not having basbos. So they have no reason to give another person basbos. So what we need to do is let your children understand that there are consequences to certain actions. That's one. Let your children understand that another person is an expression of themselves. Love your neighbor as yourself. You love yourself, you love your neighbor. Because that person doesn't mean anything. We are all equal in the sight of God. We are all blessed in different ways. Treat people like yourself. So to have a child who will have the mind to beat up a child to the point of death, there's something that has gone wrong in the mind of that child. We have to trace it back to the parents, and we have to treat it. You see all those men that beat their wives, it's part of it. Your child is an absorbent mind when they come. They absorb impressions. So you are beating your wife, basgos. You are thinking you are a man. Don't worry, continue. Your children, whether it's a boy or a girl, they are absorbing that aggression, and they think it's a way of life. And it reflects the way they relate to other children outside. You see that one that you will keep malice. Your children know that you are not talking to your husband and wife are not having conversation. They are not talking to each other. They are not eating each other's food for 1 month, 2 months, and all that. They are absorbing that impression. When they go outside, they will give it back. So we as parents, we need to be deliberate.
To model the right things.
We need to be deliberate. It's not about dropping children in school and paying big money. Your life is a living example. And if you want to give love, you want your children to love, you need to give them love. So they are used to it. It becomes a pattern. Since that time till now, I've not had any complaint in her class that she is a bully. She's actually one of the best behaved in her classroom.
I just wanted to say, I totally agree that parents are responsible. When their children are bullies, parents are responsible either for not taking note of the child's attitude or being the example. Do you remember this child that killed 3 students in America, in Michigan?
Yes.
They have locked up the parents.
Because they found out that...
I don't know why they have put them for involuntary manslaughter. The child is in for murder, and they are in for involuntary manslaughter because they are an example to the child.
They traced it back home.
They traced it back home.
We're going to discuss it further. We're going to bring in a guest now. And our guest is a family therapist and mental health person, because we need to let our audience understand the impact of the parenting on the children and how we can spot a bully in our child and how we can spot bullying of our children. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still discussing bullying, how to curb bullying in children, how to build confidence in our kids. Joining us is a family therapist, mental health consultant, Rukia Ogumbiyi. Thank you. Rukoya. Oh, sorry. That was bad.
Sorry. Should we do a little
It's all right. It's all right. Go ahead.
Rukoya. Okay, great. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you. So you've heard our conversation. Obviously, you know what happened to Sylvester. You've gotten different perspective from what we've said, but we want to understand, because most of the time they say parents struggle with their first child because they don't really understand. Nobody teaches us how to be a parent, and then we're just learning along the way, and in the process, one person has died right now. Someone is a parent of those bullies. Those bullies have parents who probably didn't do the right job of dealing with the bullying tendencies within their own children. Of course, we'll deal with that school another time. The school is a different topic. We would deal with the school. But today, we're dealing with how parents can spot bullying in their own child, the tendency to be a bully, and how parents can build up the confidence level of their children to be able to say that, I'm being bullied. What's the first step you would say any parent watching should observe?
Okay, so with regards, so I'll start with your first question. Identifying bullying in a child. The truth is, no child is exactly born that, oh, this child wants to become a bully. However, different tendencies in a child can actually, increase the risk of that child being a bully. So, for example, if you have a child with a fierce personality and is quite impulsive, their intention, in all honesty, may not necessarily be to invoke harm. It may just be that, okay, I'm hearing this conversation, it's not going the way I want it to go, and the first thought in my head is, it's this person. Remember, I said impulsive, feisty personality. So the first step is, what kind of personality does your child have? in knowing the type of personality of your child, you will know the areas of strength of that child and areas of weakness. So, for example, feisty personality means that there's a high chance that your child gets to a place, they have lots of friends, they're able to, they're probably going to be liked by their teachers. It also means that other children will want to be their friends because sense of belonging is a core developmental milestone children will go through. So because they want to associate with a popular person, they would want to do the bidding of the popular person. So now that I know that my child is quite feisty, she's impulsive in the sense that, she says things as she sees it, or is quick to do things without thinking, and you say, didn't you think about it? So you already now know that the areas of strength is social skills. It also now means that the areas of weakness for this personality will be impulsivity in relationship with other people. So that kind of child is not a child you let go without teaching emotional intelligence. You want to teach emotional intelligence, teach them about, okay, this thing that you did it wrong, but what were you thinking about? Oh, I thought that if I did this, so for example, I used to know of a child that he had ADHD. And one of the core features of ADHD is impulsivity. So he was on a dinner table.
Pause, please. What's ADHD?
Oh, I apologize. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder.
Okay.
Right. So he was on the school. They were eating together for lunch, and he was looking at another child gulping water. So in his head, it was just like, if I hit him like this, he did it, and the boy almost choked.
Oh my God.
So the thing is, he didn't think about it as I'm hurting. He was just looking at the reaction of how water would, and that is impulsive. So for example, if you already know that this is the tendencies my child have, or
we need to go to school for this thing.
Sometimes you may have to do like a behavioral screening, and I usually would recommend that schools, parents, particularly when you have concerns about your child's social skills, do a behavioral screening. It will help you know the tendencies of your child and prevent situations like this, and then give you skills or emotional intelligence that the child needs. So, for example, that child, whenever you would think of things like that, the new style will not be write it down. Ask another person, if I do this thing, how will it look like? Ask another adult, ask like 3 people. So remember, impulsivity means that I just do it as it came to my head. But by the time I'm asking 3 people, at least one person will be able to tell me that this is wrong. That's on the side of impulsivity. There's also the side that children actually grow up with a particular behavioral disorder that is called conduct disorder. So conduct disorder is literally how it starts from not obeying rules from family setting, then moving to school setting. So children and conduct disorders are actually very reflected in older kids, so like preteens and teenagers. So, but then it would have started from them disobeying rules consistently at home, or disobeying people in authority in one familiar setting.
So what you're saying, most of these things, as a parent, you should have observed.
You should have observed, in all honesty. Yeah. So the setting in which your child, of course, impulsivity, you already know that your child is quite impulsive. Just jumps to do things. Also, when your child consistently breaks rules, consistently at home, you say this is the same child that should give you an insight that, okay, there should be more.
But shouldn't children normally, I believe that children normally experiment. Like, is it not normal for a child to, if you say, don't touch the cup, like I know that the child would want to, when you say don't touch, that's when they will now want to go and touch. Is that not like a normal thing that children do? At what point does it become a conduct disorder?
Let me ask that. Is it normal? And then, is it okay if the child questions? Because my second child, if you say don't do, why?
Yes,
Is it
okay? It is absolutely. In fact, as a matter of fact, the curiosity that comes with raising kids is very essential because it means that they're learning. When I say consistently breaking rules, so you have explained that, do not touch this thing because this is why. And then behind your back, they do it first time. So, and this grows as they get older. So, for example, your 4-year-old tries it first time. Consistently, every day, all the things you say that don't do, they break all the rules. In fact, I usually say, okay, keep a chart. In 1 week, how many rules does this child break? Normally, the curiosity of the child is supposed to allow the child to explore the environment. I want to do this, I want to do this. But if you notice, once you say that, do not do this, this is a rule, many times they actually do not really go close to that one. If they will come and ask you for permission, ask you for ways they can work around it, look for ways around it. But when they consistently, as though they do not give a care to you consistently, and this many times you begin to notice it from age 4 up until age 6, 7, and consistently. So they do that at home. They do that so they graduate from home to school. So at home, it may not necessarily be you. It may be the nanny at first. So consistently, they would break the rules consistently. So that, if it's not addressed properly at that point, it graduates to the school. So in school, they're consistently doing that.
So how do you address this consistent disobedience from a child that you've noticed?
So I'll let you answer that question after we take this short break. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we've been having personalized consultation session one after the other with Rokia here. So,
yeah, I asked the question earlier, how you handle a child who consistently disobeys and is going further. I also want to add another one. We are in a country where the country is a bully. Everybody is a bully. Everybody bullies one way or the other.
Oh, gosh.
As adults, governments, your bosses, everywhere you go, one form of bullying or the other. Do you actually think that we can be able to raise children who are not bullies if the whole society is a bully? Everybody is bullying and people need to protect themselves. Do you think it's possible? But first of all, give us the answer to the first one.
The first one is, how do you curb the consistent disobedience? So, for example, as I had said, consistently disobeying rules and then getting away with it is actually the problem. Because it means that once I get away with it, or whatever I do to get away with it, reinforces the fact that I can do it again. So if you realize that, okay, your child consistently disobeys rules, you start with a reward consequence system. So basically it's about, okay, first of all, you want to keep a track. So, we're Nigerians, I don't trust people when you say your children disobey rules. It could be that maybe that's one thing they did in the day, and then that's the only thing you're seeing. So if you keep a chart, for example, these are the rules, you have already identified the rules, you have shared it with your children, and then you literally have that list. So in a week, how many times did this child break these rules? So if it's like maybe 7 out of 7, so every day this child is always breaking this particular rule, then you can now go back, okay, you have been breaking this particular rule, regardless of age. And because I also said that this is prominent, particularly between ages 5 and 7. So this is an age you can actually have the communication with your child. So you're asking, why do you consistently break this rule? So for example, you don't like a child wearing slippers in the house, and your child consistently wears slippers. If you do not have the communication, you may not know that your child doesn't like putting their legs on cold feet. So have that, what's it called? Conversation to know why this is happening. After explaining, this is why this is happening, then we can walk around it. Okay, then that means that you need thick socks in the house. Wear thick socks. So if after giving the option of thick socks, the child still wears the slippers, then we now say, okay, let's prompt you. Where do you pick your slippers from? At the door. Let me put a sticker here. Remove your slippers, wear socks. So you have gone, before you get to the point of consequence, it's a full-time job. Before you get to the point of consequence, you have put in all the modalities that your child needs to put in place, that you need to put in place to ensure that your child follows that rule. After that, you can then now even say that, if you do not wear your slippers in 5 times, we're talking about, let's say, a 6-year-old, 5 times out of 7 days, I would give you extra time on video games. It's not like you're rewarding that, you're actually now, because if they do the right thing, if they do the wrong thing, you will punish them. So if they do the right thing, why not reward? So reward it. So after using the reward system and this child is still not listening, then we can switch to consequence. Right? So for example, I have tried all that I have said consistently still over another 6 weeks, my child will still not obey this rule. Then I can switch to consequence. Okay, what are the things I want to withdraw? What privileges do I want to withdraw? What punishments do I want to put in place? So depending on how you perceive the severity of the rule your child is consistently breaking. If you do this consistently, number one, it sets the boundaries that I do not break rules. these rules are rules, I do not break them. And they are not able to get away with it. If they're not able to get away with it, it means that they will not test. They have not succeeded in one area and then go to the next area and be like,
let me try them.
I did it with my mommy. She didn't I can do it at school, so I can do it like that. And if you notice, the students that are consistently being beaten, particularly when we were in school, for breaking a particular rule, were the ones that were consistently breaking
the same rules. Yeah.
So it means that there was more.
They have a pattern.
There's a pattern. So if you would even remember, 1 or 2 times, their parents have also come to the school. If you would remember, 1 or 2 times. So they've broken that, and of course, if you do not get it right at that early age.
So let's switch to, so what we've been dealing with the person being bullied, with the person bullying, and that's behavior. I want us to also deal with the people that are on the receiving end of being bullied, you know, because one of the things that they thrive on is the bully makes you feel like if you tell anybody, the situation will get worse. So many people that get bullied, I never told my parents the level of bullying I went through, and many people did not tell their parents how severe what they were dealing with was. How do we now raise the confidence of our children so that they can speak up for themselves?
The first thing is, what do we call bullying? First things first, many of us think bullying is teasing. So you'd have 2 children playing, and maybe one hits the other child. They say, you are too strong, so you're buruju. We actually do not see, our definition of bullying is somewhat skewed. And I would say, with all responsibility, until Sylvester's case, many of us still do not address bullying in the entirety of what bullying is.
Okay.
So, bullying is, there's the bully, there's the bullied, there are bystanders. Yeah. So many times we focus on the bully, and we say bullying must be stopped. The bullied, maybe their parents will do something, but then there are bystanders too. So what happens in bullying is this. When somebody has, you know, again, in children, a developmental milestone they have to go through is sense of belonging and sense of acceptance. So anything that makes me different, I personally, I'm already capitalizing on it. And then remember, there's also the sense of belonging, like, oh, we want to be a group. So when we notice one person being different, there's a high chance that we will pick on that person for being different. So the first thing for parents is, what are the things about your child that make them stand out? So we forget our child maybe has a birthmark on their face, and we just assume that, oh, they would rough it. No, that child, you really have to start teaching that child, okay, oh, these are the things people can say to you. Don't let, you know, these are the things people can say to you. So my son stammers.
Prepare him that because you stammer, they might begin to behave funny, understand that.
Exactly. So these are the things. As such, when you've been able to tell the bully about the things that make them different, and sometimes it may just be the things that actually, maybe they're just very intelligent, the best students in class, always raising their hand, and then their peers are just like, it's only in this class. And you understand those things. So you have to, first of all, understand the things that make your child different. There are certain things that we already know that people will pick on for being different. Then the next stage is the relationship you have with your child before the bullying starts is the relationship that will take you further.
Exactly. So build quality relationships.
If you have never had any quality relationship and then your child is in GS3, you're not saying, is anybody bullying you? It's already late because your child was not supposed to.
Let me take this call from Adeleke from Shomolu, then I'll come to Nemas. Oh, so sorry. I think we lost Adeleke. I'm so sorry. Adeleke called from Shomolu. So you said first identify the weakness within your child and find a way to help them understand that because of these things that are unique about you, you might get some verbal bullying or physical bullying from children, from other people in your class, and help to build that child up. Then you also mentioned that we should identify a very smart child. If the child is very smart, they might get bullying. You also mentioned the fact that parents have a responsibility to build a relationship with their children from when they are young, not when they now become GSS1 or GSS2. You're not asking questions without having that foundational. So you've made those 3 points. Nima, you're going to. Okay,
so I wanted to ask about noticing the people around that you put around your child. So for my own parenting, the problem I had was at this point I had a girl who would always be around my child. And she is a constant breaking rule person. So one time I asked my child had said something, and I found out different. I was like, did you lie to me? She said, I'm sorry, mommy. And this is something she would have been very, very remorseful about. And then the next time she was like, but Auntie so does it all the time. And, you know, she gets away with it. Why are you so angry? You know? And then I started to notice around. So how alert must parents be about the person around them? How do you deal with that person? Because my reaction is now a cause of judgment. I cannot deal with somebody I can't change, so I cut off. I keep immediately, please, because I'm dealing with this now, and I'm supposed to find an inclusive way to bring them. Is that the right thing to do? Must I find that inclusive way? If I don't have the time to do that, should I cut off? And how?
All right, so I'll let you answer. Please note the question. I'll let you answer it after we take this call from Ola, who's called from Pakwaja. Welcome to the show. Good morning, Ola.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Please, I just want to contribute to the program.
Okay,
because
go ahead.
I'm the first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Yes, I'm always at home, so I have a daughter. So I don't always go out. But anytime we step out, she's always happy seeing other children. But not perfect case. So I discovered that some children, they will start beating her outside, but she's always happy seeing them. So I like to say that if anybody beats you, try to beat your own back. Just think because you are playing with them, they should do it as an advantage. But now I discovered that people that are older than her, she's just reckless. If they just beat her like this, or she beats them. So I don't know how to stop it. So now, sometimes people will tell me that, your daughter, if anything happens like this, she will beat a child in the class. And but I just like that. But this thing goes in my mind that I hope I'm not at fault here. So I don't know how to actually stop it. Because I don't like it. But she will tell me, Mommy, she keeps me up. I said, but don't need to beat. You have to report to your sister, so I cannot stop that.
Sorry.
Ola, that was a very good question. I can totally relate with that. So how can you help out Ola, who's raised up her child to fight back for herself, and now the child is now fighting everybody? How do you find that balance?
Okay, so I'm going to start with
Nimo's question.
So the thing is, children will learn from the environment they're being raised. And remember how I'd said that a particular behavior, when they get away with it, it reinforces that behavior. So what they see too also reinforces it. So if this person is able to get away with this thing, why can't I do it and get away with it? Now, the onus is now on you to say, is this person in my house, is this something I can invest my time, effort, and energy on to correct this thing? Because if the person is not your child, so there may be the conflict of, this person is not really my child. Do I really want to put in the effort? But if you want to do that, and this person is going to be consistently in your house, it may have to be a thing that you would have to work on that. Okay, in our own household, these are the things that you don't do. Another thing is, we have to have discussions with our children concerning the fact that someone else is doing something and they're getting away with it does not mean that they have to do it. So, and all of this will continuously happen because we're in a society with different, and it's not just even around bullying and how they respond to their emotions. There are different things. You still have your digital, you have the whole social media to deal with. You have different things to deal with. You just have to have your templates, your family templates, your family values. Literally, I would even recommend that you have a frame. In this house, we are this. This is how we are. This is how we respond. So regardless of whatever other people are doing, what's your own template? Right? So that's what I can say to that. Then for Ola, it's still the same thing. If my child is being bullied, if I say my child should beat back, it means that's the template that I have. I wouldn't say my child should beat back.
What would you say?
You should collect the beating.
No. So if my child is being bullied, first things first, report to the next authority. If the authority does not do something, I come in. Okay, report to the next person. Report. Keep reporting, because the moment you say it's okay for you to beat, you have given that child another template to manage their emotions. It means that whenever I am angry, it's okay for me to lash out at the other person. That's what you have just said. So the template should be consistent. Report continuously, regardless of how. And of course, again, you want to also keep a log. If this child has reported today, tomorrow this child has reported, it means that the person in charge is not doing anything about it. And that's where all the anti-bullying policies in schools is all about, is in. Anti-bullying policies should not be reactive. They should be proactive. So if I've already explained impulsivity, conduct behavior, it means that if I'm bringing 300 children together, I should be able to, identify the ones that will be impulsive and then give them the tools to be able to navigate their emotions.
Let me take this caller. Welcome to the show. I'll come back to you, YK. Good morning. James, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Awesome. Go ahead, please. We can hear you. You're live. You are live. You can go ahead with your contributions.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you, Auntie? See, my daughter has been a victim. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Okay, my daughter has been a victim of bullying. Serious one. And she never told me. Each time I'm traveling home, because she was schooling in Ibadan, I'll branch to the school and see her. And she was suffering in silence. She wouldn't tell me. And when I'm coming back home, I'll branch there. One day I came to the school. I asked her, they said she's fetching water. I don't want to mention the name of the school, but she will go far into the bush, fetch water, come to the school and pour it on the ground. At the time I saw her, she had fetched water 18 times. In a bucket. Once she comes, she will ask her to pour it. And if you see those bullying her, in fact, so what I did was, I called her, so what is happening? She said, there is no problem. No problem, you are sweating, you are crying. He said, there is no problem. I said, okay, follow me. She put the bucket down. Immediately she followed me. I put her inside my car. Straight back to Lagos. We never came back to that date. And that effect is still haunting her up to today. So parents should be active. If you put a child in the school far away from you, try and be visiting.
Yes.
Somebody that can be seen her,
very important.
Seeing her well-being.
Thank you.
Otherwise, you will not say you will die in silence.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much, James, for that. YK.
So I was going to say, a lot of these schools, they do not have people who are in charge of, not just like counselors, and they have to be real, not just somebody from the street that says, I'm a counselor and I don't know anything about counseling. I didn't study it, I just got there and said, I'm a counselor. Real, the correct people that know the job. Psychologists, all these, especially the boarding houses, where all kinds of atrocities can happen there. I mean, I know this child who went to his guardian and said, look, he's been a boarder, he doesn't want to be a boarder anymore. And he said, you are going to be a boarder. He says, no. So, and I was there when he sends me a text. Maybe you can help me explain. That I have been sodomized.
Oh my God.
And not only have I been sodomized, I now enjoy it.
Oh my God.
And I don't want to enjoy it. So I don't want to go back there.
Gosh.
Oh my God.
Do you understand? So a lot of these schools, you just start a school, you don't know what is happening inside the school.
So our guest yesterday said there must be a child protection policy for every school, and I think we should start asking, what's your child protection policy? They should even
be present in the school. I'm not just the one that will be chewing chewing gum and saying, I'm a child protector. No, that's what they do. They don't take the job seriously. We have to find a way to get to do this job seriously, because the children are the future.
Yes.
And what is happening? When you see what is happening with our children, you know that it is from...
Something is wrong. Something changed. Something happened.
You mentioned earlier that, a child is constantly reporting to an authority and still has to continue reporting. It means that something is not being done.
Yeah.
So what should be done?
When a child says to you, I don't want to, like YK said, I don't want to be here. As a parent, what should be your reaction?
Personally, I would
Please let me take your reply. We have a caller from Jos. You would answer that question after this contribution. Welcome to the show. Good morning. Are you there, Bola?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
First caller on the show.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Well, I have a son in Primary 4. He has always been bullied. And each time he comes home, he will tell me he needs to change his class. I asked him why. That a particular girl is always bullying him. I went to the school, I reported to the teachers on 3-4 occasions. And on the 5th time, I told my boy, please, if she slaps you, please give her a hot one. So when I told him, and I went to the teachers, I told them, I've already given my son instructions. If any girl or any boy bullies him, you should slap the person. They said they were going to address it. And as soon as I saw the mother to the girl, I told the mother, this is what I've told my son. If your child comes home and reports my son, this is what I've told him to do. And you know, since then, everything has stopped. So I don't know whether I'm right or I'm wrong.
No, Nima, we have.
You told the
Bola,
parents now.
thank you for your contribution. I think so. We need to address this one. She has established that we shouldn't tell our children to fight back. We should tell them to report. But like she said, and Nima also said it, that was Nima's question. If you report and report and report and nothing is being done, what should child do? I like what the man did. The man said that I took my daughter and we drove to Lagos.
But you
take your child from the environment, you can then come back and address it, but you must protect your child. Your first assignment is to protect your child.
Your first assignment is to protect your child. So remember how I said that report. If a child reports the first time and then nothing has been done, and then the second time, then I go to the school. Then you go to the school.
And cause grace.
No, I didn't say you should cause grace. And go to the school and get to the bottom of this. Okay, who is this child reporting to? So remember how I said that anti-bullying should not be reactive. The perception of the person they are reporting to based on bullying is actually what is skewed here. It means that when this child has come to report, you didn't think it was important enough to be addressed. So when a child reports first time, second time, I would recommend that you take your child away from that school. Because it means that whoever is at the other end, even if you did go to the school and resolve it, it means that another time it can happen. And if you notice, there are people who had gone to the school at least 2 times. They went the first time, the child got to another class, maybe at another year. The same thing is happening. So it's the culture of the school.
Okay, yeah, so we've had, some teachers come out to say that they allow some of these things because they are not allowed to discipline the children. Is that not just giving excuses? So we are against corporal punishment for the children because it's almost the same thing. And now you have children who are bullying each other and you say because you are not allowed to give them corporal punishment, that's why you turn a blind eye. Can you help me address this?
First things first, resolving bullying amongst children is has nothing to do with corporal punishment. The only corporal punishment that I'm referring to is beating with cane.
Yes.
Right. So there are other ways that you could have actually resolved it. That's a very funny
silly
excuse because if you had an anti-bullying policy and then a committee that addresses bullying, that is not a thing.
Without any corporal punishment, you can achieve
results. You can achieve the results that you want. You are finding out more about the situation, how frequent this happens. You also want to find out the other people who witness these things because they are also either going to be bullies or be bullied themselves.
They're traumatized already.
They're already traumatized.
Can you quickly answer the question I asked about Nigeria as a bully? The society is a bully. How do you think we can end bullying where every aspect of society, you see bullies, the powerful, the rich bully, the poor, we're all bullies. How can we now raise children who understand empathy? Yes, is it possible?
It is possible. So for the truth is, like any other value that you have, you reinforce your own value and then tell your child what is available. So this is what is available. You would see people. So for example, you drive past a traffic stop. You see other people do it, but you stop regardless. So it's also part of the things you want to explain to your child. So we're not going to pretend like as if certain things are not happening. So as your children get older, particularly around the values that are important to you, also these are the things that you find in the society. This is, okay, your child is going to this particular school, and these are the things you would notice. These are the things that can be done. But we don't do this. This is why we don't do this. This is the kind of future we want for you. This is why all of this is important. So the discussion is unending. It's a lot of work.
I wanted to ask because since we've been talking, I think we've been talking about physical bullying. So something happened I consider bullying in school. I got to my child's school for open day, and another child just came and said, I saw her beating up a younger child. Because I'm against physical bullying, I didn't ask my child if she was being set up. I didn't think that that girl would lie. So I brought her in front of the class to embarrass her and address the issue. And
she has problems.
So my brother was looking, and the teacher who had balanced teacher that they had, who had noticed all the children, said no, she couldn't have done that. And I kept saying, my daughter, this one, she's fasting. And so they called the child who was supposedly being beaten, and she said no. I tapped her first playfully, and then she tapped me back, and we laughed about it. And that was because she's in a junior class, and I felt embarrassed. Now I had done something wrong, clearly. I apologized. But the girl who did that to my daughter was bullying her and trying to say, I know your mom is against this kind of thing, so I'm going to tell your mom because I know you're going to get beaten.
Set you up.
She got it because that was immediately how I reacted. So are there other forms of bullying that you know that parents must also look out for when this happens, and you know, how do they go to the root of the problem?
And just before you go, I wanted to say, parents too are bullies.
Yes.
How can we address the parents that are bullies? Shut up! I should sit down there.
Yes.
All that is a form of bullying. But we don't know
address Nima
that we are bullying our children.
Yeah.
So I want you to address that as well.
Okay, so again, our parenting is a reflection of how we were raised.
Yes.
So my mom did the same thing Nima did. And of course, it's, let me discipline her. So when we abuse children, we call it discipline. And what we do not understand is they're learning. It means that when they're at a point where they have anyone that is above them, the way to correct anyone younger to you is to shout, is to beat. So your older kids may beat your younger kids. Your younger child that is quite feisty may say, hello, I can beat you, and I will beat you too. So everything you're doing, you're forming a template, because the child literally comes with no template, comes with neurons picking from the environment. So what you have done is you have told your child that when I am angry, when someone has done something wrong to you, this is how you should respond. And that's the template. So that's even what goes out to schools and that we're referring to as bullying, because we have seen someone, I have seen someone that I have power over, and this is how to show my displeasure to this person, because that's what you show. So parents, it's true, many of us were bullies.
I want us to talk about boarding school, you know, because when you see your child every day, you sort of can be able to, even though some parents have proximity without presence, so they are around but they don't really see. But it's worse off when you only see your child once in a month, you know, and you're only seeing your child for a few hours in a month. And some people are now saying, no to boarding house. What are parents doing, Seth? Why would you send your child? You gave birth, you cannot take care of your child, all that stuff. So there's a lot of reaction going on right now. And it is making parents who have chosen boarding house feel bad about their parenting. What is the right answer from a child psychologist's perspective? How should we address boarding house? Do you advocate for boarding house? Do you say no to boarding house? And if a parent has to go through boarding, how do you best, would you prepare a parent for that circumstance of seeing your child only once in a month or twice a month?
I would always and will forever say, if you would send your child to a boarding school, it means that you, before that child had gone to a boarding school, you have been a hands-on parent, you have been an intentional parent, you have taught your child emotional intelligence. So it means that first things first, you have given your child the skills, your child has skills. And then when you would now take your child to a boarding school, you have to understand that if a school does not have at least boarding school, they don't have at least 3 counselors. You are not ready. Because what you're saying is 3 months, and 3 months when it comes to mental health disorders, particularly in children, is enough to breed a full depression. So because when you're saying that, as a therapist, if you would see someone, you would ask the person, how have you been in the last 2 weeks? Because that 2 weeks duration is what you're using to measure mood and all that. So a child is now there for 3 months. It means that the trigger could happen in the school, sustain, and then develop into a mental.
Everything can go wrong within the time.
What you're saying, if you're taking your child to a boarding school, okay.
Fine, like, just give me one line.
When you're taking your child to a boarding school or any school as such, when you are looking at the curriculum of what they're going to teach, I know IGCSE is important and all that. you also have to ensure that the emotional and psychological wellness of your child is also as important. The way they, in all their processes, is also as important as the academics.
Thank you so much. We'll be speaking with a family therapist and mental health consultant, Rukoya Ogunbiyi, and she's taught us a lot. If you're just joining, you've missed you should go and watch it again. Let us just take the psychology of our health of our children very, very important. Thank you for your time. Thank you, ladies. That's what we can take on the show today. See you all tomorrow. Bye.